Once upon a time, there lived a wicked sorceress called Caleb. One day she took the baby son of the Earl of Coventry and intended to kill him. But the baby was marked for great deeds, as there was a picture of a dragon on his breast, and on his right hand there was a blood-red cross. These signs affected Caleb, and she kept the child to grow up with her. And since the child grew daily in beauty and stature, he became the apple of her eye. She called him St. George. When the boy was 14 years old, he decided the time had come for him to leave and look for adventures. But Caleb did not mean to let him go. She made up her mind to bribe him and make him stay. So she took him to the stables and showed him the most magnificent horse, Bayard. "Look at this steed," she said. "It is the best and the swiftest. It will be yours if you stay with me." But St. George would not. Then she took him to the armory and gave him a suit of armor of the purest steel, and a helmet made of gold, and a sword called Ascalon, which would destroy all it touched, and said, "This armor which none can pierce, and this sword are yours if you stay with me." But St. George would not. Then she bribed him with her own magic wand, giving him power over all things in Caleb's land. "Now you will stay with me?" she asked. But St. George took the wand, and using its power struck the rock, put Caleb inside, and with the same magic wand closed the rock, with the sorceress locked inside forever. Thus St. George took the armor and the sword, mounted the horse Bayard, and left Caleb's land. He rode to the city of Coventry and stayed there for 9 months, taking part in all feats of arms. When the spring came, he left Coventry and took a ship to a faraway country in Africa. When after a long journey the ship reached the African shore, St. George left the ship and soon found a small house where he could spend a night. The owner of the house told St. George, "Sir Knight of Merrie England, you have come to our country at a bad time. For 24 years a terrible dragon has been hunting in this land, and for 24 years we have been giving him one young girl every day to eat, or he would destroy the whole land. Tomorrow it is the turn of the king's daughter, Sabia, the most beautiful of all girls, and tomorrow she must die unless some brave knight will kill the monster. To such a man the king would give his daughter in marriage and the crown of this country." "I do not need the crown," said St. George proudly, "but I will kill the monster." So the next day, early in the morning, he took his armor, and with his sword in his hand, he mounted Bayard and rode to the Valley of the Dragon. On the way he met a group of old women and a girl, the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. He told the girl to go back to her palace, as he was about to kill the dragon. The girl thanked him with tears in her eyes and did as he asked. As soon as the dragon saw the knight, he left his hideous cave. Breathing fire, and the most terrible sound left his throat. His size and appearance would have made the bravest heart tremble. But St. George, being much smaller, took his chance to get underneath the dragon and pierced its belly with a spear. When the dragon fell down, the knight plunged his sword right into its heart, and all the grass around turned red with the blood of the dying monster. So St. George cut off the dreadful head, and with his head on his spear, went to the palace. The king's name was Ptolemy, and when he saw that the dragon was really dead, he gave orders for a celebration. St. George was led to the palace to have a rest and heal his wounds, and the beautiful Sabia nursed him herself, after which she gave him her diamond ring as a sign of her love. Then, when her brave knight had recovered from his wounds and mounted Bayard, and she sat behind him, St. George touched the proud horse lightly with his spurs, and Bayard carried them as swift as an arrow over city and plain, through woods and forests, across the rivers and mountains and valleys until they reached the land of England. There, in Coventry, they lived happily for many years. So here ends the tale of St. George of Merrie England.